Well, some good news for Disney. The company's seeing a major jump in subscribers to its streaming service, Disney Plus, surpassing 50 million for the first time. That is an increase of more than 20 million subscribers since the company last reported in February. The coronavirus pandemic has led to increased streaming across all platforms. Disney Plus has been releasing films early, like Frozen 2 and Onward. The company still has a way to go, though, to catch Netflix, its subscribers topping 160 million. Mattie Duppler, I mean, obviously we knew that the streaming companies were going to get a big boost. Is this a better story for Disney than you thought?
It's a better story for Disney for a couple of reasons. Remember that the guy who's the head of streaming and direct-to-consumer for Disney was initially thought to be the person who would take over for Bob Iger when he announced that he was stepping away from the CEO title. This shows that keeping him in that role was not only the right move, but it was a vote of confidence in what Disney's streaming services could do. But secondly, Disney's making all the right moves, making these early releases when everyone's at home looking for new content to binge. We know content is king, particularly now when everyone is stuck in their homes looking for things that they can do without leaving their house. So I think Disney's really playing this right. I'm excited to see where they can go for the next year.
Yeah. Lee Carter, you're a new mom. You must be excited that Disney has got some new releases coming out.
I'm very excited about it. But one of the things that I'm fascinated by is the timing on this is extraordinary because people are homeschooling, their kids are home, people are trying to work, juggle lots of different things at the same time. So it's the perfect time to have Disney streaming service. My question is going to be, how are they going to keep the loyalty once the kids go back to school, once everybody's back to work? Is it going to be something, this is a short-term fix or a longer-term strategy? And I think there are some questions about that. So as they're getting loyalty, is it going to be enough just to have the content that we're watching right now? How are they going to create the kinds of things that are going to hook us in the same way that Netflix is?
Yeah, well, I mean, to that point, though, Lee, I have to say, I think that so many ways that we live our lives are going to be different after this pandemic is over. And I think that the way that we absorb content is going to be very different. And I have to say, Steve, more to you, that's going to be an economic story, not just for the entertainment business, but for all of us about how we interact and how we consume. Remember, 70% of our economy is consumption, is spending.
Yeah, well, let's just take the example of Disney. Absolutely, their streaming service is doing very well. They're going to make a lot of money off of this in the months to come. But guess what, Cheryl? They also own Disney World, and that's a place you actually have to go to with large crowds. And what's the news now that they're not going to maybe even be able to open up until potentially 2021? So that's huge losses for elements of the Disney franchise. We'll see how they deal with that. But once it gets back to this idea that you were just talking to Mark about, until we get the economy reopened, all of these kind of businesses that depend on customers are in really bad shape. It's why the president cannot slip past May 1st for a deadline in terms of getting the economy reopened, in my opinion, or else you're going to see a lot of economic damage.
And I know what you're talking about with Disney theme parks, and they've talked about temperature checks, about getting essential workers back into the parks. But obviously, Americans are going to need some Disneyland and some Disney World and a lot of other things when this is all over. Light at the end of the tunnel, right, guys? Thanks to all of you. We'll see you all in just a little bit. Coming up.